Hello and welcome to TV9 Digital. I'm Abhijit Singh Bhamra. So, the European Championship is going to Rome and it's not coming home for England. And to discuss more on the European Championship final in which Italy emerged as winners, the exile continues for England. I have with me Shaji Prabhakaran, who's an analyst, who's a former player and an administrator in daily football. Shaji, welcome to the show and thanks a lot for coming. And so, it was Italy who won on penalties 3-2 and you predicted it spot on. Though it was not that comfortable victory for England inside the playing time, but at the end a victory is a victory. Their first European Championship in over 5 decades.
It's what I think England missed a golden opportunity. They played like they were playing in Rome rather than playing in Wembley. They given the advantage to Italy to dominate in the second half, and they missed. They had a dream start. England within 2 minutes you get a goal. What do you want in the final? But they didn't took the initiative, and they sat back, and it was all Southgate's fault at the end.
Right, and let's talk about the business end of the game first. It went down to the penalties. 1-1 was the score inside the playing time. But then, was Southgate guilty of giving penalty kicks to few inexperienced players in his lineup?
It was suicidal from Southgate, I can say, because to bring in Sancho's, Rashford and give it Xhaka also penalties, especially these two players, Sancho's and Rashford, they didn't get the game time. Their confidence was low, and you are giving them the biggest responsibility in a final. That was complete inexperience from Southgate. We should not have been done. Otherwise, they had experienced players. He should have used them rather than giving them the biggest responsibilities, and they were all under pressure.
Every loss and every victory, have their own repercussions. There are good points, and while there will be lots and lots of celebrations in Rome at the moment, England, Wembley, we also saw what happened. 3 of those players were racially abused, which shouldn't happen. There's no space for any kind of abuse especially in a competitive environment. But then, what right did Italy do? Like you rightfully pointed out, that it was Luke Shaw who gave them the early advantage, the 3 lions, and then they just went off. Was it a case of that we will not concede any goal rather than playing to their strengths?
That's what I said. England, they started to not to lose the game rather than to win. And Italy, as I said before, they are psychologically strong, and even after conceding early goal, they were always in the game, and they were up to. Because England were defensively strong, but they were looking for opportunities, Italy, and they believed in themselves, and they, whenever the opportunity came, they took it. And England, they didn't took any initiative to double the lead, and at the end they suffered, and they missed the biggest opportunity to be an European champion at home.
Shaji, I was just reading through the match statistics, and it said that in the second half, over 70% of the ball possession was with Italy. So absolutely, England had no chance of staging a comeback once that equalizer was scored by Leonardo, and from their point till the very end, it was all about Italy, wasn't it? They were just dominating the game.
Because England, the whole setup was to defend and defend. Rather than bringing in Grealish, in the second half itself, he should have started. Mount, who started the game, he was completely, off. He did not bring in Saka, in place of Mount before, and even the Sancho should have come in too, because England needed more attacking player that to take head on with Italy, because Italy was comfortable defending because they were not under pressure. Even Harry Kane was playing like a midfielder, and that shows that there was a complete missing link between Harry Kane and the midfield. That's how he always was coming back, and that's why there was no service at the front.
Was the pressure just too too big for England, especially playing at home. You pointed it out in the pre-show as well. But from your point of view, what faults or where did England actually faltered in the final?
See, from the start itself, Southgate's decision, his entire decision was very childish, immature, inexperienced.
Did the occasion get onto him?
I think he being a defender, as a player, he has that mindset. And that's how you cannot start a final playing at a home with majority support. You should be enjoying that moment rather than taking pressure. You start with 5 defenders. And it's not done. And they should have be more enterprising. And they have the player, they have the best of the attacking players, and we have seen, when Grealish came in, he started taking on players. He kind of opened up their defense, but it was too late.
Yeah. Shaji, you also pointed out, like in the semi-final, they were just a little lucky over there with Harry Kane scoring, and then 2-1 was the scoreline. They came into the final with lots of expectations, lots of fans, and also with a kind of the environment around the players. They were playing at home, and also the Queen also wrote them a letter. So as a player, and during a playing days, do these kind of things do actually come into your mind? I'm sure the players will say that it doesn't affect them, but at the end of the day, it does.
See, these players are professional, and they know how to take these pressures. But again, the fault is with Southgate.
Right.
These are not the players who take decision. They can take decision for themselves on the field. Where to pass, when to score, when to shoot.
How to go about the game.
But it is the game strategy, the tactics. The Southgate really misfired, and he was cautious. That is where absolutely they missed the golden opportunity. And the good thing they can take a positive out of is, okay, they played the World Cup semi-final, and now they played the European Championship final. That way they made a progression.
And also, as there is a saying, someone's loss is others' gain, and the gain factor at this point went to Italy. Italy, as you also pointed out, that they are the firm favorites to win the competition. But what all did Italy capitalize good in the final?
They were positive. To concede, that an early goal, and that to a brilliant goal. You will be demoralized. But they are psychologically strong, as I said before, and they really believed in themselves. They were waiting for the opportunity, and they were highly spirited, and they believed in themselves, and they knew we are in this match for 120 minutes and for the penalties as well. They were much prepared, and that is where they used their experiences, because compared to England and Italy, Italians, they were far more experienced, both from the coach's point of view as well as players' point of view as well.
And also I was reading the Italian captain's comments that since morning, I'm talking about the final day, since morning he was getting the feeling that today is our day. And when your captain comes in with that kind of confidence, it just spreads to the whole team. And the kind of game they played in the final against England, and they were not just playing against England, they're playing against arguably the whole of England at Wembley, with little Italian fans over there, or in few numbers. But then at the end of the day, to have that kind of a mental aspect and mental solidity to not just come out but also play the kind of game they wanted to, that just tells you the kind of confidence this team has, and also tells you that this team means business at the end of the day.
Absolutely, they are top professionals, and they really believed in themselves, and they didn't took the pressure being in the final. And because see, their whole preparation is not started just before the match. It started say 2 years back. With Mancini coming in 2018, when they missed the World Cup 2018 qualification, and from there on it's a journey, and it's culminated with a trophy, which is a big thing. And it is England, they should have put pressure, that they could not do, and the pressure could have been on the pitch, and that is where Italy had an advantage. Otherwise, see, they were not getting those openings in the game. England were closely marking them the attacking third, the final third, but they waited. That set play from the corner, they scored the equalizing goal from that. That is where they proved themselves, and that is where England need to learn from Italy.
Yeah. And also you talked about the journey from 2018 to 2021. Italy is now unbeaten in 34 games. Now that's quite a lot of games. And also now to win a European Championship just tells you that this team is meant for bigger things. Shaji, one last question. Where does Italy go from here? Now they are the European champions. You have a World Cup coming up. What's next for Italy and also for England?
See, for Italy, what I think is definitely they will be reinforcing the team to be a contender for the World Cup next year, because they have an aging defense and they also don't have an outright an attacking player who can goal scorer.
Yeah.
So they lack these two positions, and I'm sure they will find the answer where they will be reinforced. They will be much more strengthened going to World Cup. As far as England is concerned, they have to come out of this defeat as fast as possible, and they need to give more opportunities to these young guns. They will deliver, and if they give from next for 14 months, if they use these youngsters more and more game time, they will be a real force going to be in the World Cup. Therefore, England should not be too much worried about this defeat, but then they have to take positive out of it from what they have done right, and they need to see what, and the Southgate is he need to be more honest about his decisions and need to take the right decision going forward. And I'm sure they can be in Italy in the World Cup in 2022 when Qatar is going to host.
Right. Not reputation but performance will be the key from England and also for Italy moving forward, as per Shaji. Shaji, thanks a lot for talking to us and also for your valuable inputs. Now they are the European champions, and in a year's time the World Cup is also around the corner, and the Italians will be looking forward to not just make a mark but to grab that trophy and also equal Spain's unique record of winning both the Euro and the World Cup back to back. That's all what we have in this special edition for you. For all the news and updates from India and around the world, keep watching TV9 Digital. Thanks a lot for watching.